Enterprise, an open innovation platform supporting innovators and enterprises to co-develop solutions that improve the living environment and residents' quality of life. As always, if you have any questions, please scan the QR code on screen for the Q&A session after the sharing. Now, let's welcome Heru, HDB Director of Center of Building Research, and Lee Park Singh, Executive Director of Urban Solutions and Infrastructure Services Group, to say a few words.
A very good afternoon to everyone. I'm Heru Santoso, Director of Center of Building Research at Housing and Development Board. I'm very happy today to join all of you in Switch to share HDB's innovation journey and continual efforts to co-develop solutions with innovators and enterprises through our Cool Ideas Enterprise program. In 1960, HDB was established to resolve Singapore's housing crisis, rapidly building flats to house Singaporeans. However, back then, the local construction industry adopted a labor-intensive construction system. HDB has recognized the need to rethink and innovate its design and construction processes. By the 1970s, HDB had initiated a shift towards greater mechanization, standardization, and modularization to achieve higher productivity, better quality, and safety excellence in our public housing development program. Being early adopters of precast technology, HDB had developed and implemented our own precast and prefabrication system through in-house design innovations and R&D efforts. Today, for every HDB residential project, precast components constitute approximately 70% by volume of the entire structural concrete. Innovation has always been in HDB's DNA. HDB has also taken on a bigger role in research for the built environment, where we partner industry professionals and private companies to jointly develop and deploy a spectrum of urban solutions in HDB towns. In the last decade, we have introduced a new generation of public housing that is better designed, more sustainable and smarter, and brings the community closer together. A good example is our collaboration and partnership with local companies to develop HDB's first smart and sustainable district, which is our Punggol North Shore, which will be completed later this year. Moving forward, we will continue to work with the industry to test bed and deploy more innovative solutions in Teng Ang, which is positioned as Singapore's first smart and sustainable town. Another example is HDB's leading role in growing Singapore's solar capabilities. Launched in 2014, the Solar Nova program has accelerated the deployment of solar photovoltaic or PV systems in Singapore by aggregating demand across government agencies to achieve economies of scale. HDB has worked with our solar PV companies to develop a sustainable and cost-efficient business model. This has also enabled HDB to stretch its solar PV deployment target to 540 megawatt peak by 2030 across 70% of HDB blocks. To put this in perspective, the solar energy generated is equivalent to energy required to power 135,000 four-room flats annually. HDB has built more than 1 million flats across 27 towns and estates, housing more than 80% of Singapore's resident population. With changing demographics, new social and lifestyle trends, and climate change, innovation becomes even more important for HDB to address emerging challenges and fulfill future needs. The innovation landscape is continuously evolving. The rise of disruptive companies such as Amazon, Tesla, Facebook, or even our local company Carousel has shown that innovation and disruption is not monopolized by industry incumbents, and big things can come from small beginnings. We believe that there are many promising and innovative local companies that can work with HDB to shape the future of Singapore's public housing. With that in mind, HDB had launched the Cool Ideas Enterprise, or CIE program, in 2018, with the aim to co-develop and fine-tune near-ready solutions with enterprises so that they can be rolled out in HDB estates. We are looking for proposals in the domains of energy, urban greenery, waste and water, building technology, and the living environment. Participants of the program will get funding support, mentorship, access to test bedding facilities, and pilot opportunities. Currently, we are working on several exciting projects together with the local companies supported under the CIE program. One of the companies is Viki, who has developed an open and secure ecosystem in HDB's smart-enabled flats. This digital infrastructure will allow residents to monitor their energy consumption through their mobile apps and connect a variety of smart home appliances or devices across brands. Through HDB's CIE program, Viki was able to benefit from working with HDB engineers, funding support, access to test-bed facilities at HDB's Master Laboratory at Center of Building Research, and the opportunity to pilot the solution in more than 3,000 flats at Punggol North Shore. Another company supported by CIE is Hocklim Engineering, who will be sharing more details on their experience during the later part of this session. We are also currently working with a local enterprise, MTech, on the use of a robotic crawler to increase productivity in cleaning and maintaining of refuse chutes, and thus reducing downtime for residents. Another novel feature is the use of recycled dry ice to clean the chute interior. From the initial trials conducted, it has shown to be effective in killing harmful bacteria and pests. This could potentially eliminate the use of pesticides for fumigation of refuse chutes, resulting in better air quality and healthier living environment for HDB residents. This year, we are glad to share that we have just launched a set of new challenge statements. These include automating refuse collection to create a better living environment for our residents and development of smart home devices that can be integrated seamlessly with HDB's smart-enabled home digital infrastructure. You can find out more details of the challenge statements at the CIE virtual booth at Switch or from our CIE website, or by scanning this QR code as shown on the screen. With our challenge statements, we hope to inspire a new wave of innovators and enterprises to come forward with their solutions, and together we can continue to co-create innovative solutions with enterprises to improve daily living in the heartlands. I would like to express our appreciation to Enterprise Singapore for the support and close partnership. The interagency collaboration between HDB and Enterprise Singapore has allowed Cool Ideas Enterprise to support local enterprises in their solutions development journey. Next, I will hand over to Mr. Lee Pak Sing, Executive Director of Enterprise Singapore, to share more on our collaboration efforts. Thank you.
Thank you, Hiro, for the introduction. A very good afternoon to all of you. I'm Pak Sing, the Executive Director of the Urban Solutions and Infrastructure Services Group at Enterprise Singapore. I'm happy to join you today at Switch. ESG has been working with HDB to drive the success of the Cool Ideas Enterprise program as part of the transformation efforts for the built environment sector. Launched in November 2018, the CIE program supports aspiring enterprises and innovators to co-create, test, and implement solutions that can solve HDB challenges related to public housing. The built environment has many areas that can embrace new technologies, and COVID-19 has accelerated the need for businesses and industry sectors to transform and be resilient. With the advantage of having better technologies at cheaper prices, the time is right for the built environment sector to adapt and rethink the usual way of working in order to adopt better solutions and deliver better quality infrastructure to our communities. To this end, through the CIE program, forward-looking startups and enterprises can receive mentorship from industry veterans and turn their prototypes into workable solutions through active test bidding in HDB estates. As a partner, Enterprise Singapore, or ESG, supports aspiring companies, in particular our SMEs, in capturing piloting opportunities and finding suitable partners to scale their innovations, both locally and overseas. Through this program, ESG has awarded about $2 million in grants to 5 companies to further develop their solutions and bring them to market. Vicky, for example, has piloted its smart socket in 3,000 HDB units at Punggol North Shore. Besides startups, traditional companies have also benefited from the CRE program. Civil engineering company Hocklim Engineering, for example, has diversified into adjacent businesses to provide niche offering in geotechnical instrumentation and monitoring services. Other companies have similarly created new products that can bring about new revenue streams. Greymatics now use video analytics to inspect precast elements, while MTech is developing a dry ice cleaning robot to clean HDB rubbish chutes. WaveScan is working on a microwave scanner for high-resolution contactless imaging of embedded infrastructure defects. Besides helping them to test-bed their solutions with HDB, ESG is also helping these companies deepen their enterprise capabilities and source for business opportunities in Southeast Asia, China, India, and Europe. We look forward to supporting more companies in their innovation journeys in the days ahead. These company examples show that we can have very innovative solutions if we put our minds to solving practical problems. I would like to thank HDB for being a close partner in supporting local enterprises. ESG will continue to work with partners to build a vibrant ecosystem where companies can come together to achieve more impactful outcomes for the built environment sector. Thank you very much.
Cool Ideas Enterprise, an open innovation platform that closes the gap between ideas and implementation. Under this program, HDB will offer innovators support such as funding, technical mentorship, testbed sites, pilot implementation sites, and mass implementation opportunities. Let us begin our journey towards innovation without boundaries.
Hello, I'm Teo Hong, Senior Engineer at Housing and Development Board, working on Cool Ideas Enterprise. I'm currently at my office, Center of Building Research, also known as HDB's Master Lab, where we test-bed different solutions. It's important for HDB to test-bed our solutions in a safe and controlled environment before rolling them out on a wider scale. In fact, it is HDB's R&D process to develop a solution, test-bed and pilot it before rolling them out on a wider scale. This is also what enterprises can benefit from when they join Cool Ideas Enterprise. In fact, I'll let Hocklim Engineering, a Cool Ideas Enterprise company, share more about their site status and progress at level 4 right now.
Hi everyone, I'm Shen, CEO of Hocklim Engineering Private Limited. I'm so excited to be part of SWITCH2020 and sharing with you our journey through HDB's Cool Ideas Enterprise to enhance HDB's GeoBarrier system. The GeoBarrier system is an innovative earth retention system co-developed by HDB and NTU. This solution can tackle slope failure and soil erosion during heavy rainfall events, often experienced by Singapore during the monsoon season. Compared to conventional reinforced concrete walls and soil walls, it is a robust, greener, and more environmentally friendly alternative. Let's look at the GeoBarrier system behind me. The GeoBarrier system is made out of 3 different layers. The first, a planting layer, the second, a drainage layer, and the third, a barrier layer. By controlling the grain size within each layer, the second layer is able to attract water like a magnet from the surrounding soil. It then discharges the water downwards by gravity. The third layer seeks to repel water in a science phenomenon known as the capillary barrier effect. This protects the existing slope behind from getting wet by rainwater. By applying these soil mechanic theories into the GeoBarrier system, even in heavy rainfall, we can effectively channel water away safely, without soil erosion or slope failure. Through Cool Ideas Enterprise, we worked with HDB's engineers to automate the pre-filling of geobags off-site. This ensures that all geobags are filled and compacted consistently, so they do not deform when stacked and affect the stability of the system. As part of the research, we developed a 3D scanner and load test to precisely measure dimensional variations and detect any deformation beyond limits of the design requirements. Here, you can see the imaging of the 3D scanner in action. We also carry out instrumentation works to monitor the effectiveness of the GeoBarrier system. This helps us calibrate the appropriate grain size for each layer. This process enhances the overall quality and consistency for contractors to adopt when deploying the GeoBarrier system on site. When we first identified this opportunity to enhance the GeoBarrier system, we were expecting the need to liaise with multiple agencies. For example, applying for funding support from Enterprise Singapore, seeking technical inputs from HDB, and securing test-bed sites to do performance testing. However, HDB's Cool Ideas Enterprise served as the one-stop shop, streamlining the overall development process by at least 20%. We have successfully test-bedded the enhanced system at HDB's Centre of Building Research and are looking forward to piloting it in one of the HDB's estates soon. Finally, to all innovators and companies out there, we strongly encourage you to check out and participate in HDB's Cool Ideas Enterprise program. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Teo Hong, and welcome to the Q&A segment of our session. I hope you have enjoyed the earlier sharing, and if you have any questions, please scan the QR code to post your questions on Pigeonhole if you haven't done so. Joining us today, we have Hiro and Guan Bian from Housing and Development Board, Sally from Enterprise Singapore, and Shen from Hocklim. So for our Q&A, our first question, how is Cool Ideas Enterprise different from the many innovation programs out there? Hiro, maybe you'd like to share more?
Yeah, hi everyone. This is Heru from HDB. Okay, I think Teo Hong, to address that question, Cool Ideas Enterprise is something quite unique, I would say, even though you have similar programs out there. What we can offer from Cool Ideas Enterprise, which is different from some of the other programs out there, is that you will have, participants will have opportunities to test bed in HDB facilities, and also in our master lab. I think this gives them the opportunity to really try out in HDB environment, and also to, in a way, is to better assess the receptiveness from the resident and whether the solution really work well in actual environment. And from there, they will have the chance to further fine-tune the solutions. Okay, and one more thing is that we have a group of domain experts which can help the inventors in terms of clarifying with them and sharing with them what exactly is the requirements and how to tweak your solutions to make it more useful in the HDB environment, so that it can it is a smoother process when we are moving towards implementation, so that the solutions are more ready. Okay, rather than being stuck too long and become very iterative in a POC mode or in a POV mode. Okay, so I hope that answers the question.
So I guess in summary, what Cool Ideas Enterprise provides is a holistic program that is very focused at developing a solution that we can implement in HDB estate. So all the support will be geared towards that. I guess that's what.
Yeah, it is and I think HDB also can be the single point of contact if there's a need for some of these solutions, or there's a need for us to facilitate meeting or discussion with some of the other regulatories or agencies to make the solution workable.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
So for our second question, I think Shen was sharing a lot about the GeoBarrier system. So our audience would like to know, will we be seeing more of this GeoBarrier system being implemented in HDB estates and private developments?
Thank you, Teo Hong. So I believe we'll see GBS in more of these private estates as well as HDB estates, because it has many benefits, much greener than concrete walls, and especially creating additional land space compared to other general slopes. Yeah, so I believe there'll be more implementation.
Okay, thank you, Shen. So for our next question, who owns the intellectual property for the developed solution? So Guan Bian, would you like to answer?
Yes. Morning, everyone. I'm Guan Bian from HDB. So for background IPs that the enterprises bring along for the development of the solutions with HDB, these background IPs will continue to be owned by the enterprises or the IP owners. So for IPs that are generated, such as foreground IP, these, if they are generated during in the process of the development of the solutions with HDB, the ownership of such foreground IP would depend on the level of inventive contributions from the party. So typically for cool idea enterprise projects, normally the enterprise are the party that actually provided majority of the inventive contribution. So which means they are usually the party that will own the foreground IP. So I hope that clarifies the question.
Okay, so for our next question, is there a cap to the funding support that our participants can receive from Cool Ideas Enterprise? And what are some of the things that can be supported and some of the things that are not supported typically?
Okay, hi, I'll take the question. Hi, I'm Sally from Enterprise Singapore. We work closely with HDB to actually co-assess the proposal also. And the funding will actually eventually come from Enterprise Singapore. So what are the supportable? There is, to answer Teo Hong's question, there's no cap on the funding quantum. We do assess every single proposal holistically, and up to 80% of the development costs from now till 30th September 2021. So some of the items that we typically support would be the manpower costs, your technical and professional consultancy, your IP acquisition costs, and also some of the materials and consumables that is directly relevant to the prototyping. So these are essentially some of the costs. For equipment, we will try to actually gather industry support to see whether there will be any co-partners to further develop. For example, the use of HDB, they do have their lab to test out some of the prototyping.
Okay, thank you, Sally. So we have two questions regarding who are the people who can apply for Cool Ideas Enterprise? Can individuals apply for Cool Ideas Enterprise? And what if the individual doesn't have any experience or any ideas for running a startup? Can they still apply for Cool Ideas Enterprise?
Okay, so should I take this question?
Yes.
I take okay. So actually for individuals, they can also participate in this Cool Ideas program, but they need to be registered. They need to register a company, or they can partner an enterprise. Okay, so I think this whole CIE program is really not just coming out, developing a solution, and that's it. It stops there. I think HDB is very keen to move ahead and to see how we can implement that in the solutions across HDB estates. So which means that partnering an enterprise or a company or registering a company will be important to enable this implementation in the future. Okay, thanks.
Okay, thank you, Sunny. Thank you. So for our next question, how cost effective is the GeoBarrier system compared to other systems?
I will take this question. So I think some of the other slope retaining systems out there may include greenback systems, or commonly will be reinforced concrete walls. I think the main difference between GBS and something that is a concrete base is that firstly, it's sustainable. Secondly, we use recycled materials. That certainly helps to bring the cost down. But I think the one thing that we can't really compare apple to apple is because the GBS system has a planting layer to sort of cover the retaining slope behind. And I think that is a key feature of the GBS. I think a lot of the disadvantages of a concrete retaining wall include contributing to the urban island heat effect, which Singapore is trying to avoid. So this solution represents something that is more sustainable, something that is greener. And regarding to the cost, I think it's depending on the height of the slope. The higher the slope, the more cost effective the solution becomes. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Shen. So for our next question, beyond support for deployment within HDB estates, would there be assistance in driving these solutions overseas? So Sally would like to answer that.
Maybe I can take that. So essentially, once we have successfully test beta and pilot tested in a HDB estate, ESG, our mandate is to work with our local enterprises to bring these solutions abroad. So we do have a scheme, non-financial as well as a financial assistance to help companies to bring these solutions abroad, set up incorporate an entity overseas, or even find partners overseas to market this development to push a wider adoption in relevant overseas markets. So once the project has been completed, ESG will do a one-to-one engagement like what we have done with Hocklim to really talk about the other expansion plans holistically.
Thank you, Sally. So I guess what you're saying is that for QIS Enterprise, it doesn't really stop once you pilot a HDB estate or once there's wide scale deployment. Actually, it continues on because we want to drive these locally developed solutions overseas as well.
Yes, that's right.
Okay, so for our next question, who are some of the mentors from QIS Enterprise?
Maybe I can take this question first.
Okay.
But I cannot answer the full question. But so in our case, the mentors are definitely HDB's engineers. Enterprise Singapore also helped to frame some of the development objectives, and we also work together with IHL in terms of refining some of the research techniques that sort of like a private sector company would not be so exposed to. So I have these three parties to thank for our CIE development journey.
Yeah, so to put into context, for all QIS Enterprise projects, right, our mentors will consist of HDB engineers, architects, enterprise support from Enterprise Singapore, and of course IHL. So all these are geared towards developing a solution which we have identified as a deliverable. Okay. So I guess we have time for one last question, and we have two questions which are combined into one. So how many innovations projects have been awarded under QIS Enterprise so far? And what kind of past CIE projects are there? So the answer to these two questions there's a lot more information that you can find at the booth outside this virtual auditorium. You can also Google QIS Enterprise and go to our HDB website to find out more about some of the ongoing projects, some of our success stories, and how to apply for QIS Enterprise. And also, what are some of our new challenge statements that we've just launched in November last month. So with that, thank you very much for attending this sharing session, and I hope you can enjoy the next few days at Switch 2020. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, panelists, for that rapid-fire Q&A session. It's definitely exciting to see how our very own public housing estates have all these kinds of new innovations. Next up, we have the launch of the third cycle of the Built Environment Acceleration of Market Program, so please stay tuned with us.